Hello. Hi, you guys. Look at this. This is annoying. I need to get this chair fixed.
O que fazer quando é impossível evitar? Quando vejo em você.
You know, it's so funny. Sometimes I obsess over things. Like, I just spent the last 40 minutes or so fixing the lights for the studio, and I'm still like not happy with it. I have a monitor over here, and the thing is, I have this clear idea about what I want sometimes, and it's like it takes over me when I just can't get exactly what I'm, envisioning in my mind. So I kind of have this tendency of having this obsessive behavior over things, which some people would call perfectionist. But it's really interesting for you to know yourself. I'm even like reading a book right now. It's actually an amazing book. It's in Portuguese, but I'm making a review for it in Portuguese, and I might consider, having, a little conversation with you guys about that book. Anyway, it's about negotiation. It has nothing to do with the subject of this video, but which is obsessing over things. But in that book is interesting because it talks about how you should understand your style of as a negotiator. You have like in the book it says that you have 5 different styles, and you have like tests for it. I love books like that you can go on and make these quizzes, and then you find out like what's your personality type in that subject, and I love that type of stuff. And in that book it talks about being a perfectionist, and of course I failed in that category when I was testing in that subject. And I think that this obsessive behavior that I'm very aware of, being a perfectionist, it's something that has its cons and pros, because like everything else in life, actually, there is always a good side and a bad side. But one of the things that I realized that is a very good part of this, this obsessive behavior, is that you get really far on the things that you try to achieve. So for an instance, now I have a channel where I coach people, to start off in their careers as an artist. And I see that a lot of people, they have this dream about becoming, an artist and becoming a singer and this and that, but they don't put a lot of effort, in it. And a person that has a personality like I do, kind of like this obsessive things over things, like when I decided that I was gonna actually go for it, I obsessed over the subject. So I would take classes, I would watch videos, I would, like it was everything. Like when I started doing musicals, for an example, I wasn't even like a huge fan of musicals, because everyone that I had around me at the time that worked with musicals, they were all like huge fans of musicals. They knew every single musical. And I understand how this happened, because I realized that most of the people around me, they were all obsessing over that subject, which was musicals at the time. So because we have this obsessive behavior over a subject, we actually become really good at it, because we know everything about it. I remember at the time that I was doing musicals, I would obsess over it with everyone from the cast, because everyone was really obsessed over it. So what I'm trying to say is that it has this good side of this type of personality where everything, you obsess over it, because you end up getting really far, and deep in a certain subject. That's one of the things. But one of the bad things is that sometimes you just go around so much, on the same subject. Like, for instance, what I was doing right now before starting, to record this video, I spent like 40 minutes trying to fix the light, and I couldn't get it right. And, I was like, okay, enough. So I try to sometimes catch myself when I realize that I'm actually behaving this way, because I realize that it will stop me from moving forward sometimes. because if I, how long can I spend over here, obsessing over the lights before I start the video, and probably many of the people that's gonna watch this is gonna say, what's wrong with the light? And I can like start numbering it, and then you're gonna say, I see. But if I don't say anything, if I don't bring this up, it's not something that's gonna bother anyone. And at the same time, because I act like this, most of my videos have like a really good quality for the type of equipment I have, because I don't really have this fancy equipment, but I learned a lot about how to set up lights and how to set up a studio, how to set, the F point of the camera to make us, it look a certain way. So anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that there is always a pro and con on everything. And this book that I'm reading, it's really interesting because this book that I'm reading is just reminding me about certain aspects of my personality, and reaffirming what I already know. But the interesting thing is that you have to actually get to know yourself so that you can use certain aspects of your personality in your favor. And also realize when that aspect of your personality is actually getting in your way and stopping you from moving forward. Because, it doesn't really matter if probably if you clicked in these videos because you have someone that obsesses over things around you, or you are the person obsessing over something and you want to stop that. And I think that the first, the most important thing you already did, you realize you're obsessing over something, So for you to have that awareness of yourself and your behavior, and it is already like a huge step, because a lot of people, they don't really know themselves. So they like obsess over things, but when you point that out, the person doesn't even realize it, the person is doing it. So why I wanted to bring this up is because this is really coming up this week, for me, in my readings and my behavior and everything. And I think that it's a really interesting subject to go through. When you're thinking about living your life with purpose, you have to realize that you have to understand yourself and your behaviors. And in the case of having an obsessive behavior, you can also obsess over purpose and obsess over whether what you're doing and what your next move is according to your purpose and this and that. And a person that's very like spiritually driven is always going to be, putting that in front. And if you obsess over things, it can be a good thing because you can get really far. But sometimes you spend so much time, thinking over things that it will stop you from moving forward. So balance is everything. So if you're gonna take anything from this video, I think that balance is the most important part about, living a purposeful life and understanding yourself and understanding what, your surroundings are and everything. And I hope that it makes sense, because, a lot of these videos are gonna be about me reflecting on things that's happening right now and some trigger that just happened, that I can, actually come here and share with you guys and start a conversation over it. So anyways, hope you guys like this video. If you have any other insights and ideas about this subject, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to have a conversation. See you around.
Can you make up your mind and quit playing with me?
Yeah, she don't kiss if you ain't Paul Chris. She wanna ball or something like a lawyer who got a nice house and car, and always call her, follow around the mall, and of course spoil her. But I ain't got that. All I got is my love for her. That's not